This little thing right here, I don't know what it's called. I still have to make a research to know exactly what this thing is called. This little thing right here pretty much saved this PC flip. I'm going to tell you how. You see, in the beginning, I also thought that, look, having just a screwdriver was enough for me. You know, with this screwdriver, I should be able to get into this PC. It doesn't matter if it's this PC, you know, this one right here, whatever kind of PC, but with a good screwdriver, perhaps coupled with this flathead screwdriver here, I should normally, you know, be fine flipping pieces. This has always been the case. And to be honest, this was actually just good enough for me to do whatever I really wanted to do. But gradually, as new problems started coming up, I started thinking of buying stuff like this because there are just some pieces like the Dell Optiplex. There's actually one screw that this actually would enable me open because it's so short, and because of that, I'm able to get into the corners. You know, gradually, I had to get a knife because one way or the other, you would need a knife, you know, to just do this thing. I didn't plan to buy all these things. As a matter of fact, I hated having so many tools because, yes, it is what it is. And one way or the other, I realized that, yes, I also needed something like this, so small, you know, because sometimes you want to open some little screws on a laptop, you know, this might just be helpful. Perhaps this also. I got so many things, guys, but this one right here, I never knew that there was going to be a time I was going to need this, you know. Brushes I got, you know, sometimes you receive PCs very dusty and you have to, you know, do what you have to do. You have to clean them up, you know. Guys, you won't believe it. I have had to use this so many times on a particular PC. Sometimes there's some PCs that come, the front blend is looking so dusty and this brush cannot go in there. This is actually what I use. See, that's not enough. I did also get, sorry for that, still get a dust blower. You see, this one I got off of Amazon, but one way or the other, I used it for like 2 or 3 months, and then it pretty much broke. It's broken right now, but I'm just showing you that, look, I have gotten so many tools in an attempt to actually, you know, flip pieces, but then little did I know that this one right here, something that you naturally not think that you need to have around, just saved this PC. I'm going to show you something on this PC. Just going to open it so that you actually see what I am talking about. This is a Fujitsu Esprimo PC. Actually has flipped it on eBay, flipped for a very decent amount. And if you take a look at the PC right here, there's an SSD, an NVMe SSD, you know, sitting right there. See, this was the NVMe SSD that was there. It's a Samsung, you know, decent SSD. But for one reason or the other, the buyer of the PC did ask that I, you know, increase the size of this SSD because it's expected. Some people have this kind of PC. They do not want to have, you know, 256 gigabytes of NVMe SSD. They want something bigger. Right there is sitting a 1 terabyte of NVMe SSD. So this was supposed to be an easy job. I said to myself, no problem. I'm just going to go ahead and take my screwdriver, which I pretty much have around. If you take a look at this place, there's a screw right there, and this was the screw. You know, it's very tiny screw. I don't know if the camera is going to catch this. Very tiny screw. It was actually, you know, holding this SSD just in place. This is exactly, you know, how it looks. And this SSD, this screw holds this SSD, you know, to the main board right there, just like it is, just like it looks. I don't know if you can see that, but you get what I mean. So I took this screwdriver. Where's the screw once again? Because if you do not see it, you actually not believe what I am, you know, talking about. So I took this screwdriver in an attempt to open this screw right here. For one reason or the other, the screw head, you know, broke. It broke, guys. I'm not kidding you. It broke. It was holding this SSD right to the main board. There was just no way I could bring it out. I tried to force it out, but the more I forced it, the more this thing was getting worn out, and there was just no way this was going to go out. I took another one I have that had kind of a better grip, tried to open it, but the same thing happened. Broke SSD, you know, head onto the motherboard. Nothing I could do until I realized that with this little tool right here, I was able to gently, you know, go onto the screw, you know, grip it on both sides like that. I'm just going to show you, like, how to grip it, you know, just something like that. And because of that, I was actually gripping it. I was actually able to, you know, give it some little turn. And this little screw here, this terrible bad boy here, was able to get out of this main board. And because of that, I was able to bring out my SSD. Guys, this saved the day because as soon as it happened, I was already saying to myself, how the hell am I going to take out this, you know, NVMe SSD from the main board? I was already thinking of cutting it, perhaps with a knife. I wouldn't know if it was supposed to be good enough, but I was already imagining a situation where, you know, me trying to force out the NVMe SSD from the main board. Definitely, I'm going to put a hole right there on the main board, and this beautiful PC here might just cease to work. You see, in my head was a lot of, you know, thinking that, look, how could it be that this beautiful PC right here, you know, sold for a decent amount, now me preparing it to ship it out, the PC will be broken, you know, during preparation. I was a little bit disappointed, but luckily, like I said, this little thing right here saved the day. And I'm just telling you guys, if you have bought a lot of stuff in trying to flip PCs, you bought screwdrivers, you bought all manner of screwdrivers, please, I want you to consider having something like this in your toolbox. You do not need it all the time, but I'm telling you, there is going to come that one point in time where you are going to be needing this thing. If you do not have it, and you decide to use another way, you know, to force out a screw from your main board with any other method, you are definitely going to ruin your main board. You're going to ruin your PC. And if you are not lucky, you might even harm yourself in the process. Guys, I know you've bought a lot of stuff, but please consider having this, because this actually just saved this transaction. And ultimately, I know do not ultimately save, you know, this PC right here, because any moment from now, this is going to be flipped for profit. So if you do not have this, guys, I want to tell you, consider having it. You are going to be glad you did. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.